You know, it's pretty wild how just a few words from a former president can just, boom, light up the entire media landscape. Suddenly everyone's talking about an election that's still years and years away. Well, that's exactly what we're going to deconstruct today.
So, let's break this down. We're going to look at how a recent news segment took one simple, off-the-cuff remark and spun it into a whole narrative about the future of the Republican Party in 2028. And the whole thing kicked off with just 6 words.
That's it. That's the entire quote. Donald Trump was asked about a potential presidential run for Marco Rubio, and he offered up this praise for both him and Senator J.D. Vance. But for the news panel we're looking at, this wasn't just a compliment. Oh no, they saw it as a signal, and it immediately kicked them into high gear analyzing what a Vance-Rubio ticket could look like.
Okay, so how do you get from the word fantastic to a full-blown 2028 frontrunner story? Well, let's dig into the specific arguments the news panel used to build the case for this potential Vance and Rubio ticket. And this was their core take. Not just a good ticket, not just an interesting one, but a potent one. The idea they put forward was that this specific combination would be unusually strong, and they laid out some pretty specific strategic reasons why they thought so.
So here's how the panel saw the strategy playing out. First, and this is the big one, they'd have the direct backing of Donald Trump. On top of that, they're presented as figures who are already highly respected inside the party. The commentators also pointed out that getting an early start could be a huge advantage. It helps them avoid a messy, crowded primary, and it gives them way more time for the crucial stuff like fundraising and building their brand for a general election.
And to put a number on that direct backing, the panel threw this figure out there, 78 million. That's the number of Trump supporters they claimed would be a built-in base that comes along with his endorsement. They're basically painting a picture of a massive, ready-to-go foundation for a campaign.
Another interesting move here, the commentary made the case for Vance and Rubio even stronger by kind of waving away other potential candidates. For example, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene were framed as provocateurs, not as serious contenders. This basically clears the field in their narrative, right? It positions Vance and Rubio as the logical, serious choice.
Now, to really sell this potent Republican ticket, the panel used a classic rhetorical trick. You build up your side by tearing down a perceived opponent on the other. You need a political foil. And in this case, the foil they chose was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
This right here was the main piece of evidence the commentators rolled out. It's a clip of AOC talking about Nicolas Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, and she makes this geographical reference about the country being below the equator.
And right after playing that clip, the panel jumped in with a fact check, pointing out that Venezuela is actually located entirely in the northern hemisphere. They used this moment to really underscore their point about this being a gaffe and to call her foreign policy knowledge into question.
And they didn't just stop there. They built a bigger case. They pulled up other moments they framed as missteps, like comparing an answer she gave on China and Taiwan to word salad, highlighting a comment about where American cowboys came from, and bringing up an accusation she made against Israel while on German soil. The panel's ultimate conclusion was that, in their eyes, she had disqualified herself. And this was the zinger they used to wrap it all up. It's a really catchy phrase, right? It's designed to summarize their entire critique of her as a political figure. Great presentation, but, according to them, not much substance, especially when it comes to foreign policy. So when you put it all side by side, you can really see the picture they were painting. It's a super stark contrast. On one side, you've got the potent, respected ticket with the all-important Trump backing, and on the other side, you have the political foil, framed by her supposed gaffes and summed up as all foam, no beer. See, this is how a political narrative gets built.
All right, let's just step back from the specific politicians for a second. Because really, no matter what you think of any of these folks, the real story here is about this media technique and what it means for how we see politics.
What we've just walked through is a textbook example of how media commentary can start to build these narratives way in advance. It works to create these perceived frontrunners on one side and these political foils on the other, long before any campaigns are even a thing. It's all about shaping our perceptions really, really early. And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on. In a world where we're bombarded with media 24/7, how much does this kind of early framing, these stories that get built years ahead of time, actually end up shaping the political reality and the choices we eventually get to make at the ballot box? It's something to think about.